Hello everyone, this is Stuart again at Castlebank Park. This is our week 2 of the Family Nature and Gardening Club, and today we're going to be looking at insects, especially bees and butterflies, and talking about pollinators. So last week in the first week we looked at flowers, and so this week we're going to look at what's happening on all these flowers. I'm sure if you look at lots of flowers out on your walks or in the garden, you'll see that there's bees and butterflies and other insects coming to and from them all the time. So let's start by looking at different types of bees. Maybe you'll be able to tell apart different bees and the different parts of the bee so that you can tell the different types from each other. Castlebank. And I've got a few posters behind me of different types of insects. And you can see this poster here. This is made by the Bumblebee Conservation Trust. And they have different types of bumblebees. So in the United Kingdom and in Scotland, how many types of bees do you think there are? Right, so there's about 270 different types of bees. Can you tell the difference between them? Who knows what a honeybee looks like? How about a big bumblebee with the white tail? Can you tell them apart? I'm sure you will be able to after this. Okay, so here's a chart with a few bumblebees. Can you see how different they are? Can you see how would you tell the difference between the different types? So look, this is one type here. This is called the buff-tailed bumblebee because it's got this white kind of orangey tail. And then next to it, what's a good name for that? This is the red-tailed bumblebee. So next time you're out, try and see if you can find a red-tailed bumblebee and a buff-tailed bumblebee, and you can see there's a real easily to tell difference between the two. Okay, so now that we've seen that there's all these different types of bees, Melissa has recorded some video clips which we'll look at now. And in these video clips there's different types of bees and they're all feeding on different types of flowers. Here we have two bees, and these bees they died naturally, so we didn't kill them, and that's because bees they don't live for very long. They live for a few weeks and then they die. So here you can see the different parts of these bees. They've got 3 parts like all insects do. Here they've got a head, just like us, and then they've got another bit here. This is called the thorax, and then the third bit is on the back. This is called the abdomen. Okay, so all insects have these 3 parts, 3 main body parts. If we turn this one over, how many legs do insects have? Does anyone know? All insects have 6 legs. Okay, so here, the bees especially, if you see the little feet of the bees, they've got hooks and lots of hairs, and that helps it grab onto flowers. Okay, and then all insects as well have wings. How many sets of wings do they have? So all insects, well, not all insects, most insects have 4 wings. Okay, so there's actually 4 wings here. So if you can pick your favorite type of bee and draw the different parts of the bee. It's 6 legs, its head, thorax and abdomen, and then 4 wings. Just like last week, draw it, colour it in, label it, make it look lovely. Okay, so we've learned how many different types of bees there are. How many types of bees are there? About 270 in the United Kingdom. One of those bees are honeybees. And we've all heard about honeybees. I'm sure everyone likes honey. This is a beehive. So this is where the honeybees would live. And we've got one of these, so I'm going to show you all the different parts inside. There's no bees in this one just now, so I'm not going to get stung. Okay? So the first bit, we're going to take off the roof, like that. And this just all slots together, it's really cool. Okay, and then in the top, there's all these things. These are called frames. Okay, and it's on here, on these frames, this is where the honeybees will make their honey. Okay, so they make a honeycomb. They make nice wax from plants that they collect, and they make these little cells. Okay, and then they bring the nectar back from all the different flowers that they've went to visit, and we all know where nectar is in the flowers, don't we? Yeah. And then so the nectar is a sugary liquid, and to make it into honey they need to evaporate some of the water. Okay, and that makes it more and more sugary. And they do that, all of the bees, there's thousands of bees, and they all make heat and they all make the air flow through the hive, and then that evaporates the water and turns the nectar into honey. Okay, so where do the bees live? Honeybees live, lots and lots of honeybees all live together, thousands. Bumblebees, they live in much smaller groups, so there might be 100, 200, 300 different bumblebees living together. It's called in a nest. Okay, but you also get some bees that are solitary, they live on their own. And they make little nests and they fly around. They're really tiny little bees. If you're lucky, you might see them on some of the flowers when you're at a walk. And bumblebees, they can make nests in really funny places. Here we've got some tree bumblebees, and let's have a look where those are nesting this year. So here we are, we're under this big tree, and about right up there, can you see that? It's a bird box. There's no birds in there this year. Instead, the tree bumblebees have made a nest in there. So in there there's at least 100, maybe a few hundred bees. And you can see them on a nice sunny day. Today it's quite cold and windy, so they're hiding in there, maybe eating some of that honey they've made. But on a nice warm day, there's lots and lots of them all flying around, going off all the flowers in the different parts of the park, bringing all that nectar back to the nest. So you might see some of these out in your garden. They've got some bright orange on them. I want you to tell me, where is the bright orange? Is it on the thorax or the abdomen? Try and find it. Okay. We were just having a bit of a walk around and we found this up here. That's a wasp's nest. Okay. So wasps and bees, they look quite similar, don't they? They've normally got some yellow and maybe black, but they're quite closely related to each other, but they do very different things. So you won't really see the wasps on the flowers as much, because they can eat lots of other different things that the bees can't eat. But that, see if you can find one. They tend to nest up in somewhere like this where it's nice and dry. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about are butterflies. So butterflies, like bees, they are also insects. So how many legs do they have? Got 6 legs. They've got a head, thorax, and an abdomen. They've got 4 wings. Here's a nice poster of some butterflies. 1, 2, 3, 4 wings. What else is special about butterflies? So they're also pollinators. They pollinate flowers just like bees do. And they've got a really big long tongue which they wind up like one of those fruit roll things. Has anyone ever had one of those? So they keep it all rolled up, and then when they're going to eat, it unrolls and it can go right down into the flower and find the nectar. And when they do that, they pollinate the flowers and they move the pollen between the different flowers. Okay? They can be lots of lovely colours. You might see some of these ones around at this time of year. These are called painted lady butterflies. They've got mostly orange and then some black and white tips. And this is on the front wings. Okay? So see if you can find one of these on a nice sunny day. And all the colour, that's because they've got these little scales covering all of their body. Okay? And butterflies are also related to moths. So moths are cool as well. If you go out, maybe when it's just getting a bit dark, it's pretty late at this time of year when it gets dark, but you'll see lots of different types of moths around as well, and they're also pollinators. Okay, so when we're talking about butterflies, we often just see the adults. So these are the big butterflies. They're nice and colourful and we easily see them flying around. But what about the little young ones, the caterpillars? So if we want to help these, we need to make sure that we let lots of the areas, lots of the different plants, like these are nettles, lots of different caterpillars of all the nice big colourful butterflies, like the red admirals and the peacocks. The caterpillars feed on these types of plants. So last week we spoke about weeds. Lots of our wild butterflies, they like to eat the weeds. So we need to make sure there's plenty of them around. So things like nettles, long grass, and other types of wild native plants that come from Scotland. Okay, so we're here in the vegetable garden, and these are some big cabbages. And if we look really closely, we're going to see there's some little green caterpillars eating away, munching away at the leaves of these cabbages. And so if you look really closely, you'll see them wriggling about. And these eventually, they will hatch, they'll develop, and they will grow into white butterflies. So we're going to let them have a little bit of this cabbage, give them plenty of food, and let them grow and fly away. And then next year I'm sure they'll be back to lay some more eggs. Look at this. This is one on Melissa's thumb. Look how small it is. Absolutely tiny. We'll give you an update in maybe 2 weeks time and you'll see how big they grow. So here we've got a few pictures of the chrysalis of some painted lady butterflies that we grew last year. So when you have a caterpillar, so it spends a long time munching away at the plants. It could be the cabbages that we saw, or nettles or grass. But then that caterpillar has to turn into a big beautiful butterfly. So what it does is it grows into this cocoon. So you can call it a cocoon or a chrysalis. And it rearranges, it changes its whole body and grows wings. It grows big legs, it grows a nice big head, it grows its big tongue for getting at the nectar, so it can spend a long time inside the chrysalis like these, and then eventually it'll hatch and the lovely adult butterfly will fly away and start going and pollinating all those flowers. Okay, so that's us for today. Thanks again for watching. I'm just watching a little bee is flying around, going inside these lovely nasturtium flowers, and we'll see you next week.